Hi everyone, welcome back to Learning Information Technology with Teacher Stone. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at database management and we're going to be focusing a bit on delete queries. But before we get into it, let's remind ourselves of what a query is. Queries are a useful feature of a database. It allows us to question the data, to pull out important information that we need instead of for us manually going in to search for individual records or individual pieces of data, which would be similar to searching for a needle in a haystack. All right. So let us go into the delete query. A delete query is actually an action query that deletes a set of records according to the criteria you specify, which would be the search conditions. Now, it's a fundamental part of relational databases as it allows you to remove multiple records at one time. And you are able to specify which records you want to delete by linking to data in another table. Now, the good thing about the delete query is that when you use it, only the data is deleted. So our table structure remains intact. So our fields, our attributes, and even our relationships that we would have created between the tables remain intact when we use this type of action query. So how exactly does it work? Well, you can use the delete query to remove records from tables that are in a one-to-many relationship with other tables. The cascade delete operation causes the records in the tables that are on the many side of the relationship to be deleted when the corresponding record in the one side of the relationship is deleted in the query. Let's look at an example so that we can be clear on this. So we know that when you create tables and you create a relationship between the tables, we create a one-to-many relationship. Now, in the relationship between the customers and the orders table, the customer table is on the one side of the relationship, while the orders table is on the many side of the relationship. Now, if we should delete a record from the customers table, the results in the corresponding orders record would be deleted if the cascade delete option is specified. So I just don't want to tell you about this. I actually want to show you what this looks like. And so let's go to a database that I have created. Now, this table here is a table that shows personal data for students. So I've gone ahead and I've put in the student ID, name, address, telephone number, and class field names. And I'm keeping it simple so the data type for each of these fields will remain as short text. Now, I've made an additional adjustment to this. For the student ID, I've gone ahead and changed the field size from the default 255 characters to 5, as that is the construct of my student ID. So we're in the design view of the table now, and we're going to go to the data sheet view that shows us the records. Yes, I want to save my table. All right. So I have gone ahead and I've populated the personal data table with 9 records. All right. So you'll notice that I have students who belong to different fifth form classes. So the classes are 5B, 5C, 5M, 5N, and 5T. Now, I want to remove the data that belongs to 5M. So I want to remove all of the 5M records. And so I am going to be using the delete query. So like all the objects that we have in a database where we would create them by going to the create tab, the delete query is no different. And so I go to create, and then I go to query design. No, I only have one table, so I'm going to go ahead and add that table, the personal data table. And I'm going to add my fields. All right, so I'm adding my fields. Now, remember that I said I wanted to delete the records from that belong to 5M. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select delete. But before I do that, I want to show you something right here. So notice this section here that says sort, right? And I'm going to go ahead and press delete. Now that changes from sort to delete. So where do I want to delete? All right. The criteria for deleting those records is 5M because those are the records that I want to delete. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and press run. It's going to ask me, are you sure you want to delete the selected records? I'm going to go ahead and select yes. All right. So let's look at our table now. There you go. So all the records that belong to 5M have been removed. Remember that we had 9 records and now we have 6 records because all the records that belong to 5M would have been removed. All right, so let's go back to that query. All right, so again, I had added all my fields from my table and then I had gone to the delete tab right there and I put in my criteria. So the criteria for deleting the records was 5M. That is the class that I targeted. I wanted to remove all the records that belong to that particular class. And so that was my search criteria. My search condition was 5M. And so I entered that and then I run and I got the result. All those records have been deleted from my table. So that is the delete query. I hope you were able to learn something and I look forward to you joining me again so that we can continue on our quest for knowledge. Thank you.